Yeah, people, you don't know I'm back and you're keeping it locked with me, the real Gunna Lee. And I don't know we're here for another video. This is where we talk about all things Arsenal, and this is me addressing you guys after the big London derby, where we had a party of sorts in terms of where we dominated our rivals, dominated Tottenham, dominated them dudes that down the street. The Spurs fans in less than a half an hour. It was 3-0. It was like a quickie thing, did the business in for 30 minutes and then the rest of the time was just game management. So in terms of that game, I think it showed us a lot of potential of what this team can be, what this team can do going forward in the future. It also shows us kind of a litmus test on what we should expect going forward in terms of this team. There's a lot of things that I think we can take away from this game, but one of the first things I think we, not just this game, but the last Ramsdale is our first goalkeeper. He's our number one goalkeeper, just because the way that he's came in and he just kind of changed the team from the back line going forward. He's more confident with his kicking. His presence in the box in terms of going for headers, going for, holding balls, going for corners, going for free kicks, setting up wall, his communication with his right backs, his full backs. After every block, every good tackle, Ramsdale is there in their areas telling them, how good they did. There's amping up the crowd. It's like cheering with the crowd, keeping everybody amped up. And he's just a player that really wants to play for the team. I'm not saying that Leonard doesn't want to play for the team. I'm sure he wants first team football. But in terms of the love for the club and the passion, you can definitely see it through Ramsdale. And to me, that's a huge thing. And it's kind of just permeating through the side. And in terms of the other thing that we can take away from that game is just our backline is looking solid. We haven't changed our backline again in terms of having Tomiyasu, Tierney, Ben White, and Gabriel. And it's looking like a good partnership is forming between Ben White and Gabriel. Ben White, the more play-making type of centre-back, and Gabriel kind of the rough, rugged guy who's going to go in there and clean up everything, headers, low crosses, blocks. That's what Gabriel is there for me. Gabriel is, you can clip this up for the end of the season, but I think Gabriel will go down as probably one of the best centre-backs in the English Premier League at the end of the season, just based on my own fandom and seeing him, how he started off the season last year. This year is no different after his injury. He came back and he just looks solid. We, as a team, look solid. We look stronger. And, big up to him. I think he did a really good job against Kane and Son, Tomiyasu on that right back side. Still giving up a goal, but for me, played really well against Son. Son never really had any, never really gained anything, from going at him, Tomiyasu on that left flank. I also saw Son, switching from right to left as well for a lot of the time too. A big deal as well is that we need Thomas Partey to be fit, people. Based on the game, Thomas was playing more of a defensive midfield position, and I guess that in terms of being like that wall between the defense and like the attackers coming at us, I think Thomas did really well. There's one part in the game where he was isolated with Son, he did well to force Son onto his left foot, and Ramsdale coming in big with a big time save, straight at him, but those saves have to be made, people have to be covering, and I think Partey did really well at that, tackling, getting recoveries, loose balls. I think Ben White was really good at interceptions, and so was Gabriel. Tomiyasu as well, headed clearances, headed duels, just duels in general. He's been on top of it, and the team has been really looking good. And I think, it's a credit to Arteta that he's finally had his defense, and this is the defense that he wants. And it looks set in stone, and it looks like we can actually build from that. We now have a solid backbone in terms of our goalkeeper, our defense, and our midfield DM in terms of Partey. Going forward also into the game, another thing that we saw is this four-man offense. This four-man offense is looking deadly. And when I say four-man offense, it's stemming from Aubameyang, Saka, there, Smith Rowe, and Odegaard. That four-man offense is lethal in terms of just the way that Aubameyang was playing, just, getting balls, getting headers, actually doing well with his back to goal play. There's a lovely flick for the second goal in which, Aubameyang set Smith Rowe, off on a run, and then Smith Rowe cuts it back for a beautiful finish, and then, Aubameyang does the honorary finish, like the big homie over there. So I mean, in terms of the game, that game was exceptional. It was one of the best games I've seen in a long time, especially in the first half, where it's just like boom, 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 boom. And I tell you, people, it was just exciting to see that. And honestly, I wanted to see Arsenal just keep up the same kind of energy and see if we could get two more. Because it was that type of game where we look like, the better team. But in terms of young team, you can see Arteta wants to, work game management and things of that sort and things of that nature. So it makes sense as to, why we kind of dropped the intensity a little bit, where we never pressed as hard as we did, and kind of make them get back into the game in terms of possession and so on. Because when you look at the end of the game stats, in terms of possession, shots and stuff like that, I think possession, Tottenham actually beat us in possession, but shots, we outshot them about 2 or 3 on target. So it wasn't really that great of a discrepancy. But if you were actually to watch the game, especially that first half, we see we're miles above them. In terms of Aubameyang, it's another point. I think Aubameyang is back. About who? Young, he's back in action, people. Captain's performance. People are always talking about, the man lose a step, this, that, and the other. Man don't ever lose a step, bro. That man, they never lose a step. Still talented, still fast, still clinical. And I think this is the thing that's going to push him to get his season started, And so it's big time for us, seeing Aubameyang, work that position as a striker, get that goal, and, be involved in the game throughout the whole time. A big deal, too, was Saka starting at right wing. And this, for me, I'm a big fan of Nicolas Pepe. I think there's just so much skill in that player, and honestly think he probably could be one of the most skilled players at the club at this moment. But the issue with Nico is that Nico has always been too left-footed of a player, always wants to cut in. And especially Arteta's reliance on playing him on the right has let Saka be over there on the left, where Saka is not bad at the left, but in terms of Saka on the right, I think that his best performances for Arsenal in the attacking sphere has come through on the right wing. And you can just see the difference just in terms of the goals and the setups. It's like when Saka gets the ball, they both have the pace and the guile to beat the man. But Saka has that right foot, that quick delivery that he's able to pick out Smith Rowe. He's able to get to the byline, get that cross in. Whereas Pepe is always cutting back with the left. And it's kind of, you're kind of showing the defender, that's what you're on, And everyone knows, everybody who watches Arsenal, watches Pepe, knows that's what he wants to do. And so for me, if Pepe really wants to get back in this team, either he applies himself and, asks Arteta to see if he can be played out on that left wing, or on that right flank, he needs to use that right foot a bit more, try to charge that wing, try to get more crosses in with that right foot, try not to be as predictable as I believe Pepe is right now, even though he's super skilled and still can get away with it. Just a bit too predictable, and the freshness that Saka came with on that right wing position, it's going to be hard for Pepe to displace him. So in terms of that, those are about, the 5 things I noticed from that game going forward to the Brighton game. To me, a lot of people saying it's a bigger game. It's definitely going to be a stronger test than the Tottenham team. For me, the Tottenham team came in with a midfield that was built to get run over in terms of Dele Alli and Ndombele and not Regular Højbjerg there. For me, it's too attacking of a midfield, it's too attacking of a lineup, having Moura, Kane, and Son. That type of lineup, you have to dominate possession and midfield. And with the likes of Partey and Xhaka, they were not able to do that. We kind of bossed them in terms of that. Shout out to Xhaka, who was actually injured after this game, during this game, and is stipulated to be out for about 2 to 3 months, people. So that's a big loss for us. For me personally, Xhaka wouldn't have started that game, but he played amazingly well. He was part of, a great team performance, so I can't knock him for that. And, it's going to be a miss for us, but it should be interesting to see who slots in for Xhaka, whether it's Ainsley Maitland-Niles, whether it's Lokonga, and for me on a far shot is whether it's El Neni, as he's the more seasoned person. And probably El Neni would cause, the likes of Partey to be able to move further up. But for me, I, in terms of DM position, that person should be Partey. That should be the guy who's more, focused on the defensive end. And then we can, work with the Odegaard, Smith Rowe, midfield with Partey, and then you bring back Pepe in, or you can have Lokonga in there instead of Xhaka, or Maitland-Niles instead of Xhaka. More mobility, more, strength, and more like guile in terms of those types of players. Shaka might have the eye for the pass, but those kind of players can sometimes pick those passes, especially Lokonga. But in terms of like shifty and moving pace and like ability to track back and get by players, I think Maitland-Niles and Lokonga have that over Xhaka. So in terms of the Brighton game, it's an away game. It's Saturday. It's coming through tomorrow. My predictions for the game, I'll just go into the lineup first. The lineup kind of speaks for itself. I talk about the strong back four and the back line. Keeper is going to be for sure. It has to be Ramsdale as the keeper. Tomiyasu, Tierney, Ben White, Gabriel, barring no injuries. I don't think we've heard about anybody else but Xhaka. And then Partey, has to be in that DM. And against Brighton, I know Basuma has been out. Lamptey should be back. But honestly, I feel as if I want to see Pepe on the team. I want to see Pepe play in this team. And I do want to see Lokonga play as well. But you can't have everything you want. So I'm going to go with a Partey midfield. Odegaard, in there. It's like going to be Odegaard. One DM with Partey, Odegaard, and Smith Rowe as the two others. I'm going to put Pepe on the left, actually. Pepe on the left. Saka on the right and Aubameyang through the middle, and I kind of want to see more interchanging, with Aubameyang moving out to the left and Pepe, in the middle too, as well as on the right, but more in the middle, giving Saka more of that role on the right because he's just so unpredictable and he just has different moves in terms of shifting over to the left and then shifting over to the right. It kind of gets the defenders, they don't really know what to do with Saka. In terms of Pepe, it's still hard to stop, but you kind of have an idea what he wants to do. With Saka, it's kind of like he takes what the defense gives him and him give them hell, So big up to Saka Aldinho, big up to Smith Rowe, big up to Aubameyang, big up to all the team for the performance against Brighton. I think it's going to be a tough one, but the way that their form is right now and the way that they have a few injuries in terms of offensively in the midfield as well, I think it's probably the best time for us to play Brighton. I think we can get through with a 2-0 victory. I think the goal scorers will be Nico Pepe and Aubameyang getting another goal, keeping his tally going. And yeah, people, thank you. Thank you if you're here this far. You like the video, please give the video a like. Give it a comment and tell me what your predicted lineup is. And if you like this stuff, please share it. Don't know who I be. Thank you for keeping it locked with a real Gunner Lead, and I'm out.